But let's get into our first topic tonight, boys. We had college basketball tonight. Big night for our boy, or last night for our guy Matt, the Duke Blue Devils. Unfortunately for Matt, the UNC North Carolina Tar Heels have not been playing very well this year.
And
but
as we record this, they are currently losing to in-state rival NC State, 48-44.
But if you're going to have maybe a down year and you are a North Carolina fan, you would love to see the Duke Blue Devils have a rough patch here that they had. I was looking it up. They were up. What were they up? But I say 9 points with about a minute and a half left. They had like a 98% win probability and end up losing in double overtime to Wake Forest. I don't know what Coach K is going to say is wrong with him tonight. Is he sick? Is he had the flu? His back hurts. Maybe his knees hurt. I don't know what's wrong with him. Oh my!
They got outscored 16-4.
I'm sorry, guys. I know it's not college basketball, but I just watched Felicio to get subbed in with 15 seconds left in the meaningful game.
That's
That's where we're at.
That is.
We gotta put our best guys out there to win us the game.
Sub him. Kobe White's on the bench with 15 seconds left in a huge game. What are you doing? Ugh. Sorry. But yeah, Duke. They were ranked 7th going into today. They definitely will not be.
Duke still 23-5. They'll be a 2 seed. But
they have shown that they aren't as dominant as they've been in the past, and I think there's been really no dominant team. I say the most dominant.
That's exactly it, man. They're going to be in the Final Four because there's no one that, to me, like, I still think Duke is, to me, as if I look at it right now, and assuming they get to an ACC conference championship game, Duke's still going to be there because, yes, they're not the dominance they don't have, but, like, still the parity that's in college basketball is going to help them in that bid to make another run at it. They're still a wagon. They're still 23-5. I don't know. I trust them more than I trust even like a Baylor, and Baylor's very good. But like, do you get what I'm saying? Like Dayton, do you trust Duke or Dayton? Do you trust Duke or San Diego State more? It's just kind of one of those years, maybe in a different year, maybe in a different setting. But just the parity and the wild, that's exactly the right word is wild right now, because like right now the number 5 team in the country is San Diego State. Do you trust Duke? Do you trust San Diego State? Do you trust Duke? Do you trust a team like Baylor? I mean, right now I'm looking at 22 ranked Texas Tech, who made a Final Four run last year. They're getting handled pretty easily on the road to a very average Oklahoma team, and those are the teams that you're talking about are going to run into in the Sweet 16, in the Elite Eight. I still trust Duke a lot, and if there's, I know you guys don't like him, but if you're gonna, jump on a horse to give you a ride to, the Final Four, it's hard to count a guy like Coach K out with the talent that they do have.
Depending on if he is okay after this game, we understand sometimes losses affect him in different ways, with the knee pains maybe, or the back pains, or just feeling ill or whatever. So we don't know how he'll be after this loss. But yeah, you always gotta trust Duke. But it's also one of these times where, like you said, the parity in college basketball is going to make this March Madness so much fun to watch. And it's going to make it very exciting because it's going to be probably one of the hardest brackets we've had to fill out in a long time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a great point, Zach. I was thinking that earlier today. That's a great point. This might be the most difficult year to fill out a bracket.
I just don't know. Like, there's going to be so many different, I think, champions. There's a lot of Gonzagas, a lot of Dukes, or whatever.
Your head right now, name the best 8 teams in the country.
Yeah, I feel like this is a year where you could see some higher seeded teams, or lower, I guess, whatever, like maybe a 10, 12, 13, 14, maybe making a run because there's so much going on where the seedings are also just going to be weird because of, like you said, there's going to be, maybe 7 to 8 Big Ten teams in there. Like, that's going to fill up some some spots that maybe will take some teams out of higher seeds and stuff like that. I just think that it's going to be exciting.
There's going to be a ton of madness, obviously, in college basketball this year. And I don't really start following it until post-Super Bowl. and I've been listening and betting a ton since the Super Bowl on college basketball. So, like, Boomy, I want to ask you if you've got you talked about Baylor and Duke, kind of vice versa. But if I'm going to give you, let me give you 4 teams: Duke, Gonzaga, Kansas, Kentucky.
Right. I mean, I guess if you like true blue bloods, I mean, I still consider Gonzaga a blue blood, at least in our lifetime. You know, I look at all 4 of those right now. Would not surprise me if they lose in the second weekend, but also wouldn't surprise me if that's the Final Four.
Yeah.
Because I'm kind of high on Kansas right now, too.
Well, like,
yes.
And probably Gonzaga.
I don't disagree with you. Kansas is hitting their stride at the right time.
Yeah.
Now, if Kansas reverts to the team that they were early in conference play to me, you might be kind of running into a bit of a problem there. I'll be honest, I'm a sucker for this. This happens every year. I like Gonzaga. I think Mark Few is one of the best coaches in the country, and it's hard to bet against him. But if I had to pick, are you asking me to pick one out of that group of 4?
Give me 1 or 2. It's probably Duke. My 2 are Duke and Kansas.
Mine's Duke and Gonzaga.
I think Gonzaga's always one of those teams you always say, oh, that's their conference. But if you watch some of their games, they are winning dominantly.
Well, and that's a good point, Zach, because you see all the talking heads like, oh, like Gonzaga doesn't play anybody. Well, yeah, because no one on the East Coast or even where we live stay up to watch, Utah State, to watch BYU. Those are good quality basketball teams. And it's not like we're playing like the little sisters of the poor. Yes, they're going to run into like San Jose State. Those games are going to happen where they're going to beat the dog piss out of them. But there are nights where they're going. Yeah, exactly. Like St. Mary's is having a down year, and St. Mary's is still like they still have to play Gonzaga again, and they're going to give them a shot. Like they are the big dog out there. It's like UCLA was 15 years ago, or 50 years ago. They were the ones that everybody was out there headhunting, and I like those 2. And I don't know what it is about Kansas. I think they're a really solid basketball team, but the fact of the matter is their inconsistency throughout the year does scare me a little bit, and I just hate John Calipari. I can't pick Kentucky.
The Big 12's not easy this year, and I feel like you said, like Gonzaga, like they don't tip till 10 o'clock our time, so nobody watches them. But
in the same breath, like the top of the Big 12 is good, but there's a lot of very mediocre basketball being played at schools. Like Iowa State made a nice little run in the tournament a couple years ago. They're really down. They're sub 500. Oklahoma State is a very average team. Oklahoma is a very average.
Texas Tech regressing from last year.
Right. Texas Tech. Texas. Look at that. There's West Virginia is having a decent year. They're I believe they're ranked right now, but like my question always is like, would the middle of Gonzaga's conference beat or compete with the middle of the Big 12? And I'm not sure that's ever the case, but Gonzaga to me is in our lifetime, boys, Gonzaga is a blue blood, that's a program that has been around and has been competitive in the NCAA tournament basically for the last 20 years. So I don't know. It's hard to, like I said, I could easily see all 4 of those being your Final Four picks.
Yeah. Is there a Big Ten team that is any good?
There is. I think there are good Big Ten teams, but
will they just beat each other up to the point where they will all just kind of mediocre till the end of the season?
Right. Zach has made this point many, many times. It's a good point to look at. Like, there are so many good teams, but like Zach talks about, the home court advantage in the Big Ten, like they're cannibalizing each other. Maryland is the number 1 seed. They're 22-5. That's really good. I think they can make a run, but I also wouldn't put it past them, to fall early. With Michigan State.
But with that, though, it kind of, like you said, the Big Ten is kind of who's the good team. But with having that many good teams in a conference, when you go to the tournament, you've already played 5 to 6 of the best teams in college basketball a few times.
Right. And I think realistically, I think the Big Ten gets maybe 7 at most. I don't know if the selection committee, because right now at 8 is Rutgers, whose overall record is 18-10, and that is that 10 number for a big Power 5 conference. That number always seems to sit right on the last 4 in, first 4 out. And plus, it's all going to depend. Rutgers is 9-8 in the conference. Can Rutgers finish the season? Can they make a run into the conference tournament and get to a semifinal or a final game? Because right now, I don't think Indiana is a tournament team. This one hurts me to say because I like this team a lot. Ohio State at 18-9. I don't think they're good, but they can make a case. All of these teams, Ohio State, Rutgers, Michigan, Indiana, if they make a run to the conference, semifinal conference championship, can make an argument. But then after that, it does drop off to Minnesota, who's 13-13. But do you guys right now? Penn State sits at 20-7. Is Penn State a team that anybody is going to pick to make it to the Final Four? Probably not.
They'll get in, but
right. But they're also building something nice now. Michigan State, another one, blue blood. They've been around our whole lives.
Dude, they were the number 1 preseason team.
Yeah, exactly. And they've been they're 19-9, but they also play in one of the toughest conferences. So, man, I don't know. This is the time of year I love, and I don't even get to watch the games, but I follow so intently on Twitter, and I follow way too many basketball programs, Twitter pages, and different experts. But this is going to get really, really fun once conference tournament season gets here, because you're going to start seeing, and this gets talked about every year. If a team like Vermont, who is to win their conference and take a seat, well, do they get in? Which mid-level conferences get 2 bids? Is if Dayton doesn't pick up the automatic qualifier in the A10, they get upset by somebody, and somebody else picks up that automatic qualifier that maybe would not have been in the tournament, then Dayton cannibalizes one of those at-large bids. So this is the time of year where teams are really poised, starting to get themselves poised to make their runs. And you're seeing it with Kansas. Kansas is super hot right now. Where are they going to wind up if they lose in the conference quarterfinals? Are they going to be a 1 seed? Are they going to be a 2? Who knows? That's what's the beauty. I'm rambling here, but this is the time of year that you love to see. West Virginia loses to Texas last night, and what seems like a meaningless game. But now they're jockeying for position. Who are you going to play in conference tournament? This is really fun. And a local one, I know we don't have a ton of success. Illinois is having a really good year. They're going to make the tournament.
They're fun.
NIU right now, I know I'm very biased on this. I got the poster right there. But they're sitting at 17-11 and first in the MAC West. And obviously the MAC only gets 1 automatic qualifier. So that's starting to heat up something a little bit local. And I think they have 2 home games left. So if you're in the DeKalb area.
Win, baby. Just win.
Yeah, exactly. And tonight was a tough one. They end up beating Eastern Michigan on the road in Ypsilanti. But other than that, man, Loyola's having a good year. Bradley's having a good year. So the Missouri Valley Conference Tournament, which is always a week before everybody's, that one's going to be fun, especially if you can somehow catch Bradley and Loyola maybe running into each other. And Southern Illinois is getting a little spicy. Maybe they can get involved in the mix, having a couple I don't want to say local teams, but in-state teams with a lot of, local guys, suburb guys, and stuff like that. So, I don't know, man. This is just this is my Christmas. This is my favorite time of year. If you can't tell,
we got a lot of college basketball coming up here. I think the conference tournaments will be a lot more exciting this year, especially for the Big Ten, because it'll be your last chance to kind of separate yourselves from maybe some of the not average teams in the Big Ten, but if you want to make a statement to get into the tournament, the tournament may be a spot where if you make a little bit of a run, to be fresh in their brains, and hopefully you can be one of the last ones in the Big Ten to make it.
If Rutgers gets bounced on day one, that doesn't do anything for their resume.
And like I said, with as many good teams as there are in the Big Ten, easily some of the good teams will be going down first day.
It is going to be a very strange year with no North Carolina in the tournament.
But
obviously they still have the chance to win their conference tournament, but it's strange.
Which is, they've lost 5 straight?
Yeah, they're 10-17. They're done.